What's going on? It's the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. It is March 14th. It is Valspar Championship week. I'm DB. Pat Perry, how we doing today?
Doing
You good?
doing great, DB. After a big week at the Players Championship last week, easing back into golf again. Excited about the Valspar, a decent field actually. So
Decent field, last event of the Florida Swing. I love this golf course, Copperhead Innisbrook Golf Course around the Tampa area. It's a challenge. It's a tough golf course. We're going to get some variants. We're going to talk about Valspar. We're going to talk about how we're going to handicap Valspar. Obviously, do our cash game lineup this week. But this show is going to be a little bit of you remember when you're in school and at some point you kind of get that review week, Pat, where you kind of review
yeah,
what you've already seen, what you learned. Maybe you
hmm
revisit something. So I want to kind of take a look back at what we've seen so far this PGA Tour season and specifically talk through a number of players, kind of maybe some hot takes on some guys. I'm curious about some of the futures of a few guys that we're going to discuss today. Take a look at some interesting names and where they fall in the rankings on things like the FedEx Cup, and especially the top 50 on the FedEx Cup is now next year. That's going to matter a lot to be able to get into all these elevated events, those no-cut events that Jay Monahan announced a little bit ago. The Ryder Cup is this year, so Ryder Cup standings is a thing as well. Maybe some OWGR stuff. So we're just going to kind of, we're going to slow it down. No guests this week. You're stuck with just me and Pat. And we're going to kind of, pontificate on the season, on some rankings, and on some players. I think it'll be fun, Pat. Maybe we'll
yeah.
pull
I'm
some
with you there. Okay.
Before we do, obviously the Players Championship, we were there. We were at Sawgrass. It was a fun week. We experienced a lot of cool things as credentialed media members, as fans. We got to see a lot of our friends, caddies, players, coaches that we know and love. We met a few new people. We got to see our beloved Siwoo Kim, talk to him, take a picture. Heard a couple new Siwoo Kim stories. Pat, we haven't, we talked a little bit about it, but what was the highlight? What's the highlight of your week that you would be willing to share with the Better Sports Network listeners and viewers?
Well, I think this is pretty obvious, DB. So, you are gracious enough to let me have your driving range pass so that I can get out on the driving range for a little bit, a little tiny bit of time, because you just hogged it the whole time. But I got to go out there. I talked to Kiz a little bit. He gave me a little story about how he'd quit dipping. And then Dewey, his caddy, leans over to me and is like, "All right, so when did he start playing bad?" Which I thought was kind of funny, because he said he quit dipping like June 6th, and that's probably about the time he played bad. But the real thing that was fantastic is DB. We all know we have the Chalk Bomb email every week, right? Okay, so this is the Tour Junkies email that we come out with every Wednesday. I write one part of it. It's at the very bottom. It's a great email. A lot of knowledge, a lot of betting knowledge, head to head. We got the Chalk Bomb, which is the guy that we think is going to be high owned that bombs that week. But I write Pontificate with Pat. Okay. Now there's a lot of random things that are in Pontificate with Pat. And just to give an example, it actually was born out of the fact that I just don't like when people don't return their shopping carts at the grocery store. Okay. And so it's things like that, just complaining about things like that. And Joel Damon, fantastic golfer, top 100 in the world, star of the new Netflix series, he said to me that was his favorite part of the email. And so that was the highlight of my week.
He
I have to
told
say.
you that on the range?
Told me that on the range. Yeah. Favorite part of the email.
Yeah, and then we put that in the email, and then he messaged us and said it was a great part of him waking up that morning.
Yeah.
Pat, maybe the Pontificate with Pat is a wonderful segment in that email. Maybe we should just read some highlights from the Pontificate from the week prior on the Better Sports Network show every week. This could be a new fun segment we do and just bring some levity to this
I like
amazing
that
content.
But
I've
the
got
thing
it.
is, we can't really do last week's because I didn't even do last week's.
Oh yeah, I guess I did it, huh?
I think you did it, or I don't know, somebody. It wasn't me because I was too busy talking to Joel Damon on the range. So there was I didn't have time to do it. I will say this one more highlight.
Mhm.
Minwoo Lee is impressive to me, and I think we're probably going to talk about him a little bit
Yeah.
later. But Minwoo Lee is very impressive, and that shot that he hit, his drive on 18 on Thursday, that
Yeah,
just
that
like
you saw.
somehow went around the. Anyway, that was fantastic. So,
Yeah, by the way, that was a 293-yard 2-iron,
whew,
Pat. So, I mean, like, you
100 further than I hit it.
you play a lot with me, and I love my 2-iron. And when I absolutely nut flush it, can't hit it any more pure, it might go 260, 255, 260.
Yeah,
And you're always impressed. You're always like, wow, DB.
I love it. It's a good looking shot.
And his went 40 yards further than that.
Mhm.
It was pretty impressive. And he thought he missed it. He thought he missed it too.
Yeah.
Now, I pulled up. I then pulled up the Arnold Palmer pontificate with Pat. I don't remember. Did you write that one?
I think I did write that one.
Okay, let's just read it. Let's just read a couple of those. So, the word "fat" looks just like somebody took a bite out of the word "eat." Fair point.
Yeah. There.
The Swiss Army must have been confident in their chances of victory if they included a corkscrew on their army knife.
Mm-hmm.
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever stuff.
Celebrations.
Models celebrate. I like that. This is a good one. When a pregnant woman swims, she is a human submarine. Love that.
I mean, that's true, technically.
And then finally, if steroids are illegal for athletes, then Photoshop should be illegal for models. And I get that. I do get that.
Yeah.
I had one that I texted you earlier this week that was that's something I realized as I was talking to somebody. And when people say, "Oh, your dog is so cute," why do we say thank you? I had nothing to
Yeah.
do with making the dog.
No.
Nothing to do with it. I literally picked it out. It may have been, I don't know. I may have picked it out because it's cute. It may have been the last one I was stuck with. Why do we say thank you? We should just be like, cool.
Okay.
Or sure is. How about it, huh?
Yeah.
Like something like that. It just feels weird to say thank you because I literally had nothing to do with it. So
Yeah.
pontificate with DB there. Okay. Other things that the players that we enjoyed, that I enjoyed. I mean, the Players is always a real treat. If you ever get a chance to go to a Players Championship, it's a great tournament from a viewing standpoint. There's a lot of great spots to watch golf and follow guys around. It's not a bad walk at all. The weather was perfect. Love that. It was a splendid event. It was a lot of fun. I also enjoyed my time on the range on Tuesday, and enjoyed watching some of our buddies. I mean, obviously the time spent with Siwoo, although brief, was lovely. It was a great time.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was fun being there with you. It was fun doing the media thing. We had a great week, and made a lot of new relationships too, which is fun. What sucked is that Scotty Scheffler won. I mean, Pat, 5 out of 10 events in 2023 have been won by either Jon Rahm or Scotty Scheffler at odds of 10-1 or shorter. I mean, it's unbelievable. These two guys, it is really those two. And you can't really talk about hardly anybody else. I mean, Rory completely crapped down his leg and was absolutely a non-factor. Jon Rahm withdrew with a stomach illness, where I bet he would have been a factor.
Yes, he
And
would have.
Scotty won by 4 or 5 shots. I mean, he boat raced everybody. He just looked unstoppable. Unstoppable.
It was, it's boring, I guess you could say. Although watching Scheffler dominate, there's just something majestic about it. The way he chips in. What the hell with him chipping in? He chips in more than anybody I've ever seen, all over the damn place. I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, it's like the Masters last year on number 3. He's dead, short-sighted. Boom, knocks it in for birdie.
And honestly, Pat, not a lot of his chips are bump and runs. And
they are not. They are not. Which I do
Uh-huh.
love the bump and run, but no, they're not. He's just fantastic around the greens, and it is. I don't think we're going to see much different though, DB, in the near future. Maybe this week at the Valspar, I do think we could see a mid-range guy win.
Yeah,
especially with the way this field is. But if you're looking at down the line at the Masters coming up here in a few weeks, the PGA, that kind of stuff, I just don't see anybody. There's not going to be, it's not going to be long shots.
Speaking of the Masters, I mean, here's the question I want to pose: Rahm and Scheffler versus the field at the Masters. Who would you take? Now, Noticeably, I'm leaving out Rory McIlroy, which I know, it's one tournament. He almost won the Arnold Palmer. He won overseas earlier this year. I know he's been playing well, but it was a very disappointing 2 days at TPC, which TPC is one of those, random events. And Rory's probably going to play the Masters very well. So, given that I'm excluding him from this, it probably would make, a lot more sense to then take the field in that bet. But how good would you feel about it if you took the opposite side of that bet?
I would be a little nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably rather have Rahm and Scheffler. I mean, I think Scheffler can certainly go back to back the way he's playing right now.
Yeah.
Rahm, as long as he's not, still sick, which I don't think he will. I think it was just a stomach bug or whatever. Rahm's still going to be playing fantastic. This is a course he could win on. So yeah, Rory though. Like
we're going to talk about Rory.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get to Rory. The Oscars were also this past weekend, Pat.
I had no clue, by the way. No
Me
clue.
neither. I mean, I didn't watch any of it, but I thought we'd go over 2 quick categories for the TPC Oscars. Okay. First one, Best Supporting Actor this week at TPC. I'll make an argument for my guy, and it would be the random guy's knee on number 9 at the Players when Jordan Spieth was on the cut line and hit a typical Jordan Spieth banana ball, heading straight for the agua, gonna be taking a drop, very likely gonna make bogey and miss the cut. And it hits some dude's freaking metal-plated knee and bounces the opposite direction back into the fairway, and luck box Golden Boy Jordan manages to make a par and make the weekend and then make a run all on this guy's kneecap. I mean, I can't think of a better supporting actor. Do you agree?
I'd agree there. You could actually say the water itself this week or last week was a supporting actor with just all the balls that it ate and everything and the drama it creates on 17.
Yeah, maybe best villain.
That could be the villain. Maybe I'll put that in the villain. I think, actually, I agree. I think that's a good one. I feel like we should give some credit to Tom Hoagie as a supporting actor for the Players. Okay, this is a guy who he barely made the cut on the number, course record on Saturday, continues that up with a good round on Sunday, finishes third, wins what, 1.5 million?
Yeah.
He's like on the cut, 1.5 million. I mean, fantastic. And Hoagie just keeps doing the things that he does. Makes a lot of cuts, makes money.
Yep.
Doesn't ever win that much. He's got like one win on tour.
Great iron player.
He's like the definition of a supporting actor.
Yeah. All right, and with the last category, I want to play a quick video. It was best short film of the week, courtesy our friend Keith Mitchell. This happened on Friday, I think it was, or I don't know what day it was, before the horn blew, and it's just a cornucopia of goodness. Let's watch this.
In the water? Yes.
And here Keith is about to tomahawk this driver right into that golf cart and stops himself.
Yes, because the golf cart came. If that golf cart hadn't gone, oh wait, that's another thing.
What a great video!
I mean, all the sounds and the movements, like it was perfect. It was like it was choreographed. It was
rhetorical question. Did it clear?
Yeah. No.
Is it in the water? Yeah. And then just contemplating life, contemplating how on God's green earth that Mizuno driver did not absolutely splinter into the ground when he did that. Yeah. That was, I mean, like I've been angry and hit my driver in the ground before, and then right after been like, I'm really glad that didn't snap. But and like a couple times I was surprised it didn't snap. But for that was a serious whack.
Yeah, it was. There was some bend in the shaft on that one.
God love him. I'm a big fan of Keith Mitchell, Georgia Bulldog. Love it. All right. We're going to come right back with a bunch of talk about the Valspar and the Players and the whole year of 2023. All right. Right here on the Better Sports Network.
Making you money in daily fantasy sports and golf betting. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network. Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Vladdy swings at the first pitch and lines it into right center.
How did a guy who was being selected in the first round pretty well everywhere last year, he proceeded to lose 33 runs, to lose 16 homers, to lose 14 RBIs, and to lose 37 points in batting average. Oh, and 184 points in OPS. He went down everywhere. How does that guy, Vlad Jr., still register as the #1 fantasy first baseman? Ahead of Paul Goldschmidt, who won the MVP last season. Ahead of Mr. Freddie Freeman, who does the same thing every year, which is hit .315 with 25 homers and 100 ribbies. Ray, it's like Vlad Guerrero Jr. had nothing to worry about. It's like they thought they were getting him and his dad, as you can see there on the photo. You get both of them when you draft him at #1. I'm just surprised, and it was not a bad season, but Ray, it was such a disappointment compared to what he posted in 2000.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair to say. Vladimir Guerrero, in 3 of the 4 years, he's been average to good. He had one spectacular season. And we keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. The positives are the lineage, positives are the skill set, positives are the StatCast data, which everything's like top 5% murders the baseball. The negatives are he has not hit 275 in 3 or 4 years. We keep talking about this too. He does not hit the ball in the air. It's remarkable, his ability to hit 30-plus home runs, given that he never gets the ball in the air. His ground ball rate last year was 52%.
Well, and we're asking the question, how is he still #1 at first? But what catches me even more so, Ray, is the overall. I mean, he's a first-round pick overall, and I don't think he has any business in the first round. I look at his profile, and there are so many guys going behind Vlad that just have business in the first round that deserve to be there. Freeman, Machado, Bichette, Rafael Devers, I think maybe Pete Alonso. You put Austin Riley ahead of him. If he gets 310, 30, 190, he's a first rounder.
I think the play with Vlad is the batting average because he hits the ball monstrously hard. I could see him hitting 320.
Can you hit 320 with a 52% ground ball rate?
You can, but it helps if you're athletic and fast. And he's an
yeah, exactly. And I get it. His hit tool's strong, Ray, and he's good. It's funny his ground ball percentage is that high because on the occasions when I get to watch Blue Jays baseball, I don't see it. I see him hit the ball. And it's not really grounders. I'm surprised the number is that high. It feels like he stings the baseball, but I guess there's just no lift overall in his game.
It's just a little tweak to his swing that could really lead to that growth back toward where he was in the home run column. And I think people, he's done it. This is not hypothetical. He did it 2 years ago and he's still just 23.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team where you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network. Now back to Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
We're getting you ready for the upcoming baseball season with the Better Baseball Preview, from fantasy baseball to MLB betting and the newest baseball cards for 2023. You can access our exclusive content for free right now on bettersports.com, featuring some of the sharpest minds in the industry like Adam Ronis, Ray Flowers, Kyle Elfrink, and Cody Decker. Get player profiles, prop bets, and futures, sleepers and busts, fantasy draft strategy, collectibles, and more at no cost. Register now at bettersports.com to get instant access, plus notifications when new features are released. The Better Baseball Preview at bettersports.com. I used to like baseball, Pat. I used to like baseball.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the only sport I played as a kid. Only sport. Is the pitch clock thing really going to be a thing this year? I might start watching again.
I'm pretty sure it is.
If they're going to really enforce that and it's going to move it along, I might get back into it. I might.
Yeah, I'm hearing the games are a lot shorter. It's baseball's weird to me because I don't really get into it unless the Braves are good, and then if it's like later in the season.
Yeah.
I've never played fantasy baseball.
Oh God. I mean, Godspeed if you do. I can't imagine. What's also crazy is I've learned how much, just in that clip with Kyle and Ray, talking about ground ball percentage of stuff. In my day, back when I played, it wasn't any of that. It was just basic ass, batting average, RBIs, home runs, opposite field, whatever. It was none of this stuff. I was talking to a buddy of mine. His son plays high school baseball. He's like, "Oh yeah, everything's about exit velocity." I'm like, "What? Exit velocity at what does that mean? Like, you mean pitch speed?" He's like, "No, man, that's the exit velocity off the bat." Like, what the? Are we serious?
Hey, listen though. I mean, we'll probably get into this at some point, but with the USGA and the RNA announcing today that there might be some rolling the golf ball back. If you read that, there's all this like CTI and MS and all these kind of terms with the golf ball, and I'm just like, what in the world? They needed a glossary for it.
Yeah, I didn't even. We had so much going on. Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, busy days, content days for Tour Junkies. I haven't even gotten into it. I've seen a couple tweets about rolling the ball back, all that stuff. And I don't really even know where I stand out on all that stuff.
Somebody asked me already, and I said, let me digest this, and then I'll give you my opinion.
I've never really cared all that much. Golf is weird in that, it does seem like it could be one of those sports where the pros just play with slightly different equipment than we do. But then again, there's other sports where that doesn't happen. I mean, so I don't know. We don't want to get into that right now. We want to talk about the Valspar. Okay, we're at Copperhead, Innisbrook. Already talked about it a little bit up top. In the Tampa area, it's not super coastal, but it's breezy. It's going to be windy this week. I mean, looking at early weather projections for now, it looks like Thursday is going to be a lovely day, good for scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, it's going to be hold on to your britches because the wind is a-coming on Friday and Saturday and possibly Sunday. Also, a possible thunderstorm or two could delay play, possibly even soften up the golf course. But, I mean, at a course that even in no wind already plays slightly more difficult than the tour average golf course would be played, now you throw in the wind. It's going to be interesting. So a few trends, a few things to know about this golf course. Well, we've had only 2 guys win this place in the last 4 years, and that is Sam Burns has won it back-to-back at 17 under. Paul Casey before him in 2019 and 2018 won it in back-to-back years. Adam Hadwin's won here. Jordan Spieth's won here. Kevin Streelman, Gary Woodland, Jim Furyk, Luke Donald. It's kind of a grab bag of winners. You got long hitters, you got short hitters, you got grinders, you got good putters in here, you got bad putters in here like Gary Woodland. You've got short numbers at 20-1, 25-1, 33-1, 16-1. You've got long shots. You got Sam Burns at 70. He won. It was his first PGA Tour victory. You had Adam Hadwin at 125-1. It was his first PGA Tour victory. You had John Sinden at 125-1, who was just old. So it's just it's a Florida event that just brings a lot of variance. There's water in play on like 9 holes, Bermuda grass. The greens are small. What else, Pat? I mean, anything else kind of you feel like I'm missing here?
No, I mean, I think we talked about on our show, you can compare this course a little bit to the Honda Classic. And mainly because, and that's PGA National, but mainly because it's just, there's a lot of trouble off the tee. Around the greens can be tough. The wind, the weather that we're going to see, that kind of plays a factor. It's not like necessarily a coastal course like we see it at the Honda Classic, but very similar, very difficult, kind of not necessarily quirky, though. It's really all there right in front of you. You just got to hit fairways, and you got to hit the fairways and give yourself a good angle into these small greens. So always looking at approach, around the greens, that kind of play. But you're going to have to be on your game this week, especially with the weather.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also say parts of it remind me of Sawgrass, parts of it a little bit of Harbor Town. It's like it's got a little bit of a Parkland feel to it, some dog legs. You're going to see bombers club down off the tee on a handful of these holes. A lot of guys hitting to the same spots in the fairways. The irons, you really feel like you play out of the middle and long irons in the bag. Not a whole lot of wedges into a lot of these holes. Remember, there are 5 par 3s. This is a par 71, and the par 3s are difficult. It's also the home of the snake pit, right? The 3-hole stretch, I think, is 16, 17, and 18. Pretty tough, which makes for some great drama on Sunday if it's tight. And if the wind does what we think it is, Pat, I would imagine the scores are going to be pretty bunched. I just saw earlier today one Vegas sportsbook has the over-under total winning score at -8.5, which is pretty low. I mean, Sam Burns won at 17 under the last two years, so the weather's going to play a factor. And with that kind of bunch scoring, no lead is really all that safe when you get,
No.
get to the snake pit late on Sunday. That could make for some fun drama. Plus Scheffler and Rahm aren't here. So God forbid, nobody's going to run away with it, hopefully.
Yeah. Makes me wonder what the bet would be on a playoff.
Playoff? Yeah. We could look that up probably.
If we got some plus money on a playoff, I'd probably look at that because you could have like 5 or 6 guys tied at one point coming in on the Sunday.
For sure. A couple other winning trends. 15 of the last 15 winners had at least one previous top 10 finish that season. So coming in, having shown some semblance of form is usually a must. 13 of the last 15 winners have played in at least 2 previous Valspar Championships, so a little bit of experience around Valspar. 11 of the last 15 winners had at least one previous win, so you had 4 first-time PGA Tour winners here at the Valspar. Bogey avoidance pops up, strokes gained approach pops up, par 5 scoring pops up. Even though scoring's not great here, you kind of got to just make your money on the par 5s and then make pars everywhere else. That's what Sam Burns did. So other things to consider there for Valspar. I mean, Pat, we're going to talk about maybe some betting thoughts here, but personally, I mean, we're doing this on a Tuesday. I think it's probably smart to wait as late as you can on Wednesday to kind of fully invest what you're going to invest this week until we have a full, more accurate picture of the weather on Thursday and Friday, and then maybe hold back a few units because it could be a nice live betting opportunity, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is a perfect week for that. We were starting to see a little bit of that last week until Scheffler just kind of ran away with it. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's get into one of our favorite recurring segments every BSN show starting out, at least for the near future. We're going to keep trying to bring you a little bit of this, just a little nuggie to help you out. Maybe you're a new person starting in the world of golf betting or DFS. We like to call it Just the Tip. And our boy Pat Perry is bringing it today. Pat, what is the tip for this week?
Well, DB, we're going to think a little bit out of the box, this week for Just the Tip. All right. So, I know we like to talk a lot of strategy when it comes to betting and betting on golf and that kind of thing. But, sometimes, DB, you gotta keep your emotions in check. Okay. You need some emotional counseling. All right, DB. And you know what else you need to do? You need to have some gambling etiquette. All right. I'm an older guy, right? I'm big on etiquette. Okay. When we're out on the golf course, we need to have proper etiquette. Okay. So here's the one thing I want to say. All right. Let's make sure we're being classy on Twitter. Okay. On social media. All right. So if you're gambling on golf, all right, and Joel Damon screws your lineup in fantasy or whatever in betting, don't be atting him on Twitter and yelling at him on Twitter. That does no good for anybody, all right? It's just going to make you look like, as you like to say, DB, a douche canoe, okay? That's what you're going to look. We need to have composure. So when our bets are going bad, which it happens all the time in golf, okay? All the time in golf, we need to have composure. Don't at people on Twitter. And you know what? DB and I sometimes give you some bad picks. All right. I get it. You can add us. We got thick skin. We can take it. But just keep it simple, don't cuss at us or things like that. You gotta have composure. Again, DB, it's about composure. All right. We're just being your helpful touts. Okay. We're just being your helpful folks. And we put a lot of research into what we're doing, DB. So we got to make sure that we're being respectful of that and being respectful of the process. All right. Things can happen, DB. A lot of things, in a golf round, somebody hits 4 ball. Can I talk? Aaron Wise, for instance, DB. Aaron Wise. Aaron Wise hit like 4 golf balls in the water on 18. All right.
Yeah.
Look. That's when you want to yell at things. You want to throw your computer. You want to punch your TV. You want to do things like that. We need to make sure we just have composure. All right. Yeah. So that's what this is all about, DB. I just want everybody to know that let's keep it classy out there. Okay. Let's not be just going nuts and just like throwing a blowtorch over Twitter on everybody. Okay. So just, do that because I believe in karma, DB. And if you want the good karma to come to you, you can't be throwing out bad karma. You can't be just yelling at everybody. All right. There's a lot of luck in gambling, right? Yeah. There's a lot of luck. So we need to keep that good karma going and let's just be calm, stay composed, be classy.
Yeah. And we say this all the time, right? Golf betting is not for the faint of heart. This is not, it's a highly variable sport. And if you've ever played golf, you know you can have it 1 minute and not have a clue the next minute or the next day or whatever it is. Happens all the time, even at the pro level. It's a hard sport to handicap. It's a hard sport to get right. But I also, we also illustrate that, like last year in my outright card, DB's Big Balls betting card, published every Wednesday, I only hit 6 winners all season. And guess what? I was profitable in my units. 6 winners out of like 40 tournaments. And I was still profitable. So it only, it doesn't take as much, but you're going to lose a lot. Your guys are going to crap the bed a lot. You got to have thick skin, and you'd never at them. Never at them. It makes all bettors, it makes all fantasy players look bad when you blame some golfer for having a crappy day. You don't know what's going on at home with the wife, with the kids. Who knows? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's not do that. Stay right here on the Tour Junkies Golf Show. We'll be right back on the Better Sports Network.
Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
Washington Commander fans, it's time to rejoice. The day you've been waiting for seems like it's finally on the way. And you know what day I'm talking about. No, not the next time you have a parade down Constitution Avenue. That's still years away. But the day you get to say goodbye to the man who has owned that franchise since 1999. It's Daniel Snyder. You know it well because he's been the worst owner in sports in the 24 years he's owned that football team. That once proud franchise, the Washington Redskins, the Hogs, the championships, Doug Williams, Joe Gibbs. Now what you have left behind? Memories of Albert Hainsworth. How did that work out? Horrible free agent signings, not to mention the scandals. Just this past 18 months alone, the horrible reveal of the Commanders' team name when everybody knew who it was the day before. Oh, that Sean Taylor statue, that gimmick, that joke. How about the touchdown celebration of the mascot, the Tutty? That was horrible. You keep getting in your way, time and time again. The best thing you had for your fan base this offseason was hiring them an offensive coordinator. And now the later scandals, financial misconduct, all these things you got going on. Yet you want Roger Goodell and the NFL to look the other way while you negotiate your sale of the team on your terms. It don't work like that. Only person who's really got on your side is Jerry Jones, and it's not going to be enough. So go ahead, Daniel Snyder. Do the right thing. Sell the team and go on about your business. Don't worry about this no more. The fan base deserves better. You've done a lot to tear this situation down. It's just time to walk away. Don't try to negotiate your own terms. Do the right thing and give the Washington, D.C. natives, give the people inside the Capitol Beltway their team back. You can find more contents like this at Better Network on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Helping you have more fun with golf. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
That's right. It's the Tour Junkies Golf Show here on the Better Sports Network. We've been talking, a little players recap. Great just a tip there from our boy Pat about emotional composure and things that we all need to remember as gamblers. Pat, I want to get into, we're going to do our cash lineup, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Our 50-50 double up lineup on DraftKings, help you out in DFS, help you, dip your toes in the DFS waters, double up your money, grow your bankroll, all that stuff. But March Madness is coming. Okay. It's coming. Starts really gets going on Thursday, I think it is. And I'm not a huge, I don't watch a lot of college basketball throughout the year. I watch it, every now and then I'll have a game on if it's a big rivalry game or whatever. But I love watching March Madness. And Pat, I thought, I like doing these round robins, especially. I like the round robin on FanDuel. And I thought maybe, you could help me out, maybe even producer Will, if he's got some nice takes in building a little bit of a hybrid, round robin card. I've got 3 players at top 40 numbers for the Valspar. And then I want to combine that with 2 maybe money line picks for Thursday's games, so that maybe right off the bat Thursday, if we could hit these 2 on if we could hit the 2 college games on Thursday, then really from a round robin standpoint, for the most part, if we could just get one of the other 3 guys in the top 40 by Sunday, we're probably coming out, even at best, or at worst, but probably making a little bit of cash. If we can get 2 of them, so 4 out of the 5, we're making some cash. If we get all 5, the parlay hits at like 15-1. So I'll tell you the 3 guys at the top 40 that I have already listed for the Valspar. And I went with some, I didn't go like plus money guys. I'm trying to go. This is conservative round robin here.
We're trying to get them in there. Okay.
Yeah. I went Byung-Hun An at minus 115. I love Byung-Hun An here. I like him on hard golf courses. The irons are clicking. The short game is good. He's got plenty of length, swing speed. I like that. So he's minus 115. Ben Griffin is minus 145. I think we both like Ben Griffin. We watched him play a lot of golf at the Players last week. Had the lead at one point. The rookie has just been on fire, and I think this is a great spot for him. I think he's going to do very well on a tough golf course. And then I have Wyndham Clark at minus 150, who, we kind of debated on whether or not he could actually win, but you can't deny Wyndham Clark is hitting it much better in terms of strokes gain approach numbers lately. He's definitely a bomber. Has always hit it well off the tee and can get the putter rolling. He's at minus 150. So I have those three in the top 40 for now. Let's stick to the golfers for now. Would you make any changes? Do you have anybody you'd want to sub out?
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of Wyndham Clark to win, and I think he's a popular player. A lot of people are probably going to put him in their betting cards this week, but a top 40, I feel like, is actually pretty good for Wyndham Clark, just the way he's been playing. So I think I'm okay with where you're going there. I like Ben on. I'm with you on Ben Griffin. The guy's just been so solid. So top 40s on all three of them. I like it.
Okay, now here's where I'm going to need some help. The two money line games I chose based on, just some things that I was seeing out there in the Twitter world and based on the numbers. I chose for Thursday's games, I chose an early game at 4:30, and then I chose a game at 9:55 p.m. Eastern. I chose Arkansas money line over Illinois, currently at minus 130 on FanDuel, and then I chose Texas A&M money line over Penn State at minus 156. I can easily be talked into different bets here. So, anybody else you like?
Let me just tell you something. First, you're going with two SEC schools right there. So I don't know, maybe showing a little bias there on those two.
Could be showing, yeah.
And then March Madness in general, like we could see almost anything. We don't know. Yeah. I want to say, is Arkansas an 8 versus 9 or a 7 versus 10 matchup?
I think it's an 8-9. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's an 8-9, which is a little scary. Yes, and they're only 1.5 point favorites. But I think that's why you would get that the minus 130 number and not a huge favorite number.
I mean, here's the thing: there's a little bit of a crapshoot here. I do like Arkansas in that game. The other game, I think I'd probably actually go the Penn State route, just because I would want to mix it up a little bit. But my whole thought process on this would be, I feel really good about the golf ones, that you're going to hit 3 of 5, and then it's just going to be what the hell happens with the other two. Probably going to split them 4 of 5. If that means we cash, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, so you lean the Penn State route. Does producer Will have any better thoughts or options? Okay, so producer Will is saying he loves the Furman Paladins plus 240 against UVA. Wow, that's a bold one. That's
Furman Paladins, I love it.
Should we do that one? Right down the street from us, kind of.
Yeah, Furman's just up the road in Greenville, South Carolina. I've got several friends who are alumni of the Furman Paladins.
That game just locked on me. I'm trying to build the card.
So we're saying they're going to beat
UVA.
Here we
go. Dude, that game it's now down to plus 195. Maybe FanDuel just heard and they moved. Producer Will just moved the line.
I mean, that would have to move your round robin into a pretty hefty payout. It's got to move it to at least like 25 or 30 to 1, right?
Yeah, let's see this here. Hang on, let me remove the A&M deal here. So now it moves it to 26, basically almost 27 to 1 for the 5-legger.
Yeah,
4-legger gets 13 to 1. By 3s, 6.5 to 1, and by 2s, so almost 3 to 1.
I do like what we're thinking here along the lines of at least putting one of the games from in plus money territory to get it up to maybe like 20 to 1 or something.
And that gives us 2 early games because the Furman game's at 12:40, so lunchtime. Everybody will be taking their lunch break and heading up to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch some games. So, yeah, let's do that. So it's Byung-Hun An, Ben Griffin, Wyndham Clark, all to finish in the top 40. Arkansas money line, Furman money line for your 5-leg round robin, courtesy of the Tour Junkies, who know a lot about golf and very little about college basketball. So if 4 out of the 5 legs hit and Furman gets boat race, we can all get pissed at producer Will next week. We can all do that. That'd be fun.
Wait, you're not adhering to what I just said on just.
Oh no, sorry. Yes, sorry. We will not get mad at him. We will not. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the DraftKings cash lineup of the week. Now, last week's lineup, Pat, I thought it was
Keegan Bradley. I told you about Keegan.
No, you didn't. We both agreed on Keegan Bradley. We both loved Keegan Bradley last week. Don't give me that. It's debatable. You know, I put it in one contest, and it was just on the edge of cashing, and it didn't cash. I don't know. You know, it could have cashed in if you put it in a certain contest. I don't know, but mine didn't cash. I think it could have. It was a 5 of 6, which I thought for the players would have been doable, because there was some carnage. You know, there wasn't a high percentage of 6 of 6 lineups. So for the record keeping at home, I'm going to give us kind of a maybe column.
I feel like we get a push.
Yeah, so we're 3, 4, and 1 on the year, which I'm still not happy
give us
about.
A push there.
We got to get over 500 here. So I just don't love that. So let's build one this week.
Okay.
This week's going to be interesting. I think you started last week. I'm going to start this week.
Okay.
All right. Cash lineup. So talking 50-50s and double ups on DraftKings, PGA DFS. If you want to get started, kind of, get a feel for how things are going to go. This is a great place to start, kind of learn the game, start building your bankroll, do all that. All right. I'm going to start right here in the middle of that kind of average price point, and I'm going to hit a guy we've already talked about, Ben Griffin at 8,400.
I like it. I mean, I think that's very solid for a cash lineup. All right, so that gives us 8,300 on average we can deal with. I'll tell you what, DB, I'm gonna knock us down a little bit here. And actually, there's a lot of guys in the lower 7K range that I'm a fan of. Okay, so I'm gonna get us down into the low 7K range. I'm gonna go with a guy that has been playing very well this year. We saw him just lose in a playoff at the Honda. We made some comparisons. So Eric Cole. What do you think about Eric Cole? Give us a little cash to deal with down there at 7,300.
I do like Eric Cole. We did talk about him extensively on the show. It feels a little risky to put him in a cash, but let's put him in there for now, and let's see where we shake out.
I like that. Yeah, let's just get him in there and see what happens.
Maybe one I'd want to say, let's scoot him on out of there. Let's just see where we land though. Okay. Well then I'll stay with the trend, and I'm gonna stay kind of in the middle, and I'm gonna hit Brandon Wu at 8,500. What do you think about Brandon Wu?
Well, I'm a fan of Brandon Wu. So
I mean, he's handling the Florida swing quite nicely so far. T14 at the Honda, T19 at the Players. Tough, difficult conditions. Worst score was out of those 8 rounds was a 73 to open the Players, but fired a 65 round 4 at the Honda. A couple of good 69s on Friday and Saturday at the Players. I mean, guys playing really well right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan there. I think now we got to move up, DB, and we got to take a guy that I feel like you finally came around on this week, and that's Denny McCarthy. He is at 9,300. Just super solid, man. And the way he's been playing, I think he's a lock in there at 9,300.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm with you. Oh, okay. This is well, I'm just gonna stay. You know what? We're gonna go all in on 2 of our 3, maybe all 3 of our top 40 guys. I'm going Wyndham Clark. We've already talked about Wyndham Clark, 8,800, playing exceptionally well right now. Very consistent. His last missed cut was the Shriners. I mean, he has literally been on fire, and that's what you're needing. You need to make sure these guys make the cut, and they've got some upside. I think Wyndham Clark has that. Last missed cut in October is pretty strong for Wyndham Clark.
Okay. What if we did this? What if we go down and take a Ben Martin?
Okay.
All right. And then that's going to leave us 300. You could technically pull out Eric Cole, go up into that 76 range, 7,600. And you got there, like a Joel Damon. You got a Nate Lashley there. You got Will Gordon you could go with. Or would you just keep Eric Cole? But I like Ben Martin. I really like him as far as just a solid cut maker this week.
Well, Yeah, let's do Joel Damon. Let's do Joel Damon. So
Okay.
all right. So here's the cash lineup. You got Denny McCarthy, you got Brandon Wu, Wyndham Clark, Ben Griffin, Joel Damon, Ben Martin, your 50-50, your double up cash lineup on DraftKings. Get you a little double up. All right. And also come back, okay, on the Better Sports Network, Tour Junkies Golf Show. Let's go.
Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network. Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Better Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
no way you know.
And Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders. Unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
Oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. Yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had two people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Better Sports Network. Now back to Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
All right, it's the Tour Junkies Golf Show on Better Sports Network. We talked to Valspar. We recapped the players. We had a good time with that. We gave you your 50-50 double up cash lineup for DraftKings. But Pat, I want to do something we've not done yet. I want to kind of, and I thought we'd have more time. We don't, so maybe we'll get to some of this next week. But I want to talk about a couple things, some rankings, and some key guys on key bubbles in the rankings. You talked about Min Woo Lee. We watched Min Woo Lee at the Players Championship up close and personal. You know, and we've seen Min Woo Lee play recently, but if you're not a diehard and you were watching the players, it may have been your first exposure to the Aussie that's got the dirty little, 13-year-old mustache he had rocking there. Mm-hmm. Guy hits it a long way. Tons of swing speed on this dude. But he's on an interesting bubble. And the bubble is world golf ranking leading up to the Masters. He is not currently qualified to play in the Masters. I think his game with his distance could be a very interesting guy at Augusta National, but he's currently outside the top 50 in the world. He's he's inside. He's at number 45. Got to stay there by the time, I think it's the Monday following, or the Monday of Valero week. So it's like the Monday prior to Masters. He's got
he's basically got 2 more weeks to stay.
He's got 2 more weeks to stay there. So what are we thinking about? I mean, your thoughts on Min Woo Lee as a player and just kind of what we saw and all that.
Well, as you mentioned, Min Woo Lee I think he's super talented. If you watch the broadcast, I talked a lot about how he comes from a golfing family. I mean, his sister is one of the top top golfers in the world. Also, she's won a major, I believe. So, Minwoo Lee is fantastic. We got to watch a lot of golf of him on, I guess it was Thursday, because he was with Austin Smotherman, who's a friend of ours. So they were in the same group. And again, just super talented. I'll say this, DB, actually, I was watching his odds for the Masters, and one book had him at 150 to 1. Not all the books actually had him on there because he wasn't officially in yet. I believe he's already in. I think it's going to be hard to bump off of 45 in the next 2 weeks. But
let's see if he's got. I was wondering if any live guys are going to dip. Sorry, I didn't. So Thomas Peters is at 42, who's a live player.
Yeah.
Probably gonna. So he'll probably move up on Thomas Peters at minimum. And then he's got 3 guys below him that I would imagine would never pass him. I also forgot he played the Masters last year, his first time, and finished 14th.
T14. Yes, which is fantastic.
Dude, if you can get him
first
150 to 1 still, I think you got it.
Well, let me tell you though. Actually, I looked at the same book today. 70 to 1. They moved them. So you had a stale number.
Yeah.
If you had a stale number last week.
Yeah.
And it was at 150 to 1, and now he's 70 to 1. And then on other books, I'm seeing him at 66 to 1.
Yeah.
So obviously, Minwoo Lee showed his talent. It's a hard ask to say that he wins, but he does have a great game. It's actually better for the National than it is at TPC, just because he can probably hit that driver, which he seemed to be scared to hit. But he doesn't necessarily have to. So I like Minwoo Lee a lot. I like his game. I think we're going to hear a lot more from him, not just like a 1 week wonder like with last week.
Seemingly a pretty aggressive player too. And I mean, that may not be the greatest style at TPC Sawgrass, Pete Dye design. Yeah. He got
good putter too.
Good putter. He got
made some clutch putts.
Yeah, he got into some trouble a couple of times, being a little too aggressive at Sawgrass. And then some of it was just not really aggression. It was just like, I mean, I saw him hit one shot. I think it was on like a 13 or I don't remember what hole it was, but he hit driver. He missed it by literally a yard, 2 yards. Missed the fairway by 1 or 2 yards. Had he hit the fairway, he's 20 yards further down. He's hitting a wedge into the green, but he misses it and he ends up in rough that's like this thick. The ball lands, it stops basically where, after one bounce, and then you can't even see the golf ball. He has to hack it out on a side hill lie, ends up costing him a shot. That's kind of what Pete Dye can do to you. And at Augusta, he's much more freed up. Fairway's a lot wider, more forgiving.
Yes.
He's freed up to rip driver. The kid is a absolute stud. He is coming. You need to know his name. And I mean, even at 70 to 1, I'm interested. I'm interested in hitting that for sure. I'm imagining he'll play at the match play next week. Could be fun to watch him in that scenario as well. While we're talking Masters bubble boys, let's stick with this theme for a minute. A guy we've been talking about a lot this year, having a resurgent year, has had a tremendous record at Augusta National, but he has got some work to do in a couple of weeks, and that is Ricky Fowler, 59th in the world. Now he's got some live boys ahead of him that maybe he could pass between now and then, but he's got to move up 9 spots. He's got Harold Varner III, Mito Pereira, Taylor Gooch at 49, 50, and 51, who, are going to continue to move down. But I mean, we could be looking at a scenario where Ricky literally ends up on the bubble to get into the Masters.
Yeah. And he's not playing this week. So, I mean, we've got match play, which he should be in match play, right? And then we've got the Valero after that. So, he's got a couple tournaments where he can play his way in.
Is there nothing between match play and Valero? Am I just like missing that?
I thought Valero was the week before the Masters.
So, well, yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, so it's match play and Valero. So that's it. So you'd imagine he's going to play both of those, but I mean, it is kind of surprising.
It's going to be close. I really want to see Ricky there too. The Masters is actually, they can do what they want. They've been known to give a few just special exemptions out of nowhere. Of course, Ricky's a pretty polarizing player out there that a lot of people know, and who knows, they may not want to give that impression that they're just going to, throw an invite his way. But I think he can do it, though. I think with the live guys he's got in front of him that are dropping down, makes it a little more easier for him to jump in there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Well, he'll be one to watch match play next week. I mean, he's got a ton of match play experience, Ryder Cups, President's Cups, WGCs. And if I don't have the record in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he's got a damn good match play record. Ricky's a good player, and he's feeling good right now. So that will be something to take note of. One more guy kind of on the Masters bubble, never played in the Masters before, but interesting fit and literally cost himself probably over $1 million and possibly going ahead and being inside the top 50 with a back nine at TPC last week. Rookie Taylor Montgomery, who has had an incredible year, is number 56 in the world golf ranking. He's got to move up 6 spots. Again, he's got those 3 live players that I mentioned who are in front of him that he will likely pass. Not playing this week. I would imagine he's also qualified for the match play and could be at Valero if he's still not in. But Taylor Montgomery's had an incredible year from a stat standpoint. He's definitely a bomber. He hits it a long way. That'll carry well at Augusta. And he's probably the best putter on the PGA Tour. I mean, he's absolutely an incredible putter, which will also go very far at Augusta despite not having a lot of experience. Could be a first-timer to make a lot of noise at Augusta if he can get there. But, I mean, dude, Taylor had – what was his Saturday that he did so well, or was it the front nine Sunday? I mean, he was just charging up the leaderboard at Sawgrass.
He was. And then all went to, it just was bad.
It was
just water all over the place. He was just.
Let me look at what he did. So was it round 4? Or round 3? What? No. Okay. Here's round 4. So round 4, he goes out in 35. Oh yeah. He shoots a 41 on the back nine. Mm-hmm. He was 1-2. He was 3 under on the day through 14. And then he bogeyed 15. He doubled 16. And then he quadrupled the island par 3 17th for a 7. And then he parred 18, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
To shoot a 76. That's after shooting a 66 in round 3. That's the one where he just went bananas. Shot a bogey-free 666.
Yeah. He is so talented. His putting's amazing. By the way, I mean, if we're talking about an injection, though, we can't just glean over the Max McGreevy 69 89 where he had to make like a 5 or 6 footer to break 6 footer to break 90 on Friday. Man, what a
we love Max. He's a good dude. I've met Max. I've spent some time with Max. We love his caddy, Brett Swedberg, great guy. Hated to see that. Love to see them shoot the 3 under on day 1. But then something happened, and I mean, Sawgrass can get you. Like there is so much trouble at
golf
Sawgrass.
Can get you.
Golf and Sawgrass and Pete Dye's little diabolical ass, they can all get you. And it can go south real quick, as we saw. But, I always take situations like that in pro golf, and I use it to remind myself. I've already told my 12-year-old who plays golf a lot, and he gets down on himself when he doesn't play good. I've already talked to him about Max's 2 days. And I think we should tell you, if you're a golfer and you're a 5 handicap, a 0, a whatever, you're going to have days where you go out and shoot a 74, and then the next day you can shoot a 90. A guy who's a 3 handicap can shoot a 90. It can happen on the same golf course that you may shoot a 71 or 72 the day before. So it's easy to get pissed at yourself with stuff like that. But even these pros who their margins are so much thinner, their dispersions, their expected outcomes are so much smaller than your everyday golfer and weekend warrior, and they do it,
Yeah.
It's a good reminder. My son gets so ticked when he's like, I showed a 45 last week on this 9, and I just showed a 60 or a 55. I'm like, dude, he wants to, throw clubs and temper tantrum all over the place. And I'm like, guys, listen, our poor guy Max McGreevy's done it. So Sawan Kim did it on the Live Tour last year. I made a TikTok about it. It went bananas. He did the same thing. He shot like a 66 one day and a 84 the next or something like that. It can absolutely happen. Golf can jump up and get you. All right. Well, it's been a good show. We've had a good time. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. We will be back next week talking the WGC Dell Match Play. It's a unique event on the PGA Tour schedule. Match play is fun. It's a good time. So come back and see us on the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. See ya.